Snowstorm wasn't supposed to hit that hard. That's what I told myself the minute I realized I was stranded, crouched inside my half-collapsed tent, trying to keep the wind from clawing at every inch of my skin. My heating unit had blinked red an hour ago, and the satellite beacon just laughed at me with its blinking error light. This was supposed to be a survey trip, simple terrain mapping, 2 days tops on Sura 7, then back to base. What I got instead was a nightmarish blizzard and something else I didn't sign up for. Something, or someone, was moving out there. At first, I thought it was just my mind playing tricks in the whiteout. But no, there was a shape. Slender. Swift. Not the hulking form of the local fauna, but upright. Humanoid. I should have been scared. Every survival guide screamed, "Don't engage." But when that shape stumbled closer and collapsed just feet from my tent, I did the dumbest thing imaginable. I dragged her in. She wasn't fully human. Her features were sharp, ethereal. Silvery hair matted with snow, elongated ears, glowing eyes flickering like dying stars. And the fur. Pale, thick, almost soft-looking, running along her back and limbs, fusing into her form like nature itself had woven it into her. She was shaking violently. Half-conscious. No weapons. No threat, at least not immediately. I threw my emergency blanket around her, muttering things like, "Don't die on me, wolf girl, and you better not eat me in my sleep." She stared at me, barely understanding, eyes half-lidded. But when I offered the edge of my tattered blanket, she clutched it like it was sacred. Like it meant something. Hours passed. The storm outside battered us like it had a personal vendetta. Inside, it was silent. The kind of silence you feel in your bones. I tried to keep my distance. She slept, curled in that blanket, chest rising and falling slow, peaceful. I didn't know if she was a native of this planet or a stray from some other colony, but she was clearly not like me. And when she woke up, she sniffed the air, literally sniffed star. Then crawled toward me, all cautious, feline-like. I held my hands up. She didn't attack. She just stared. At the blanket. At me. Then back to the blanket. She wrapped herself tighter in it, curled around it like a dragon with its hoard, and growled. Not aggressive. Protective. Possessive. "This is not good," I muttered. I tried to gesture, to explain, pointing to myself, to the tent, to the planet. She wasn't dumb. Just alien. After half an hour of awkward miming, she touched my chest with her clawed hand and uttered a word I didn't recognize. Then pointed to the blanket. Then mimicked nesting motions. My stomach dropped. She thought it was *hours star. The blanket. The tent. The storm. Me. And in her culture, or whatever strange customs she had, this meant we were something. Bonded. Mated. She didn't try to leave the next day. When the storm passed, she remained inside, silently watching me. Every time I stepped out, she waited. Every time I returned, her ears perked up like a pup greeting its pack leader. I could have radioed HQ, told them I encountered a non-hostile, requested retrieval. But I didn't. Because deep down, I was curious. Who was she? What was her story? And why, when she curled up next to me again that second night, did it not feel entirely wrong? The sun was up, but barely. Pale light spilled across the snowy hills of Sura 7, glittering like powdered glass. I stepped out of the tent, stretching limbs sore from cold and cohabitation with a mysterious alien girl who had decided my blanket meant we were a couple. She followed. Not right away, of course. But minutes later, when the air cleared and the howling winds faded into the white silence, I heard crunching footsteps behind me. I turned. There she was, clutching that same blanket around her shoulders like a royal mantle. She didn't shiver. Her kind probably didn't feel the cold like I did. But she wore the blanket anyway. Because it was mine. She walked up next to me, sniffed the air, then made a low humming sound in her throat. Some kind of language. Emotion. I had no idea. She pointed to the sky, then tapped her chest, then mine. Then the ground. Was she telling me she crashed here too? Or that she lived here and saw the storm coming? I tried to communicate, pointing to the mountain ridge and mimicking a fall. She nodded slowly, understanding part of it. Then she did something weird. She dropped to one knee in the snow and dug her claws in. Within minutes, she'd carved a rough diagram. A mountain. A crevice. A crater. Two figures. One, a four-legged beast with sharp teeth. The other, a smaller creature. Ha! She'd been hunted. That's how she ended up here. I crouched beside her, tapping the predator drawing. She made a growling sound, showing fangs. Then pointed at herself, then to me, then back to the tent. Protection. Safety. She thought I saved her from more than the cold. And in return, she saw me as hers. That night, she didn't wait to be invited. She curled up beside me like it was routine, her tail wrapped around both of us. I should have been uncomfortable. But after 2 nights in an icebox with a potential apex predator turned blanket-snatching cuddlebug, I just accepted it. Then came the scenting. She sniffed me. Not subtly. Not politely. Full-on face in my neck, hair snuffling, breathing deep kind of sniffing. Then she made this low churring sound of satisfaction and buried her face in the crook of my shoulder. "Ah, you good there?" I asked. She let out a contented sigh. Her ears twitched. Her claws rested gently on my chest. I was starting to think she didn't understand boundaries. Or maybe she did, and this asterisk was her way of showing them. By morning, things escalated. She'd gathered materials, twigs, fur she'd shed, bits of thermal lining from my gear, and padded the inside of the tent. A nest. She was building a nest. Our nest. I nearly tripped over it trying to reach the rations bag. She growled when I stepped on a corner of the blanket. "Oh come on, that asterisk part's still mine." She bared teeth. Then giggled. Giggled. "You're joking now?" She pointed at the blanket, then tapped her chest, then mine. Then the nest. Then she said the same word again, the one from the first night. "Kairu." I repeated it, testing the syllables. "Kairu." She beamed. She pointed to herself. Ari. Her name. Finally. I pressed my hand to my chest. "Leo." "Ari," she nodded. "Leo." "Kairu." She spoke so little but said so much with just that. She didn't see me as a stranger anymore. I wasn't just a survivor to her. I was a partner. Maybe even a mate. The radio finally buzzed to life on the 4th day. Weak signal. Blinking green. "Leo, this is command. Do you copy?" I froze. Ari cocked her head. "Yes, I copy," I said, glancing at her. "I'm alive. Storm trapped me. I encountered a sentient alien. Non-hostile. Not requesting extraction. Not yet." Ari purred. And for the first time in days, I wasn't sure who I was anymore. A surveyor. A rescuer. A mate in a snowbound nest to a wolf girl who'd stolen my blanket and my sense of solitude. I wasn't ready for the answers. But I was ready to stay one more day. The days blurred together, but Ari's world never slowed. For every moment I tried to make sense of what was happening, she had already accepted it. I was part of her pack now, or maybe I was her pack. I learned quickly that whatever she was, she had her own way of living, of connecting. Her language was scattered with clicks, growls, and tonal hums. But more than that, it was the eyes, the posture, the way her tail curled or ears twitched. Her body said more than words ever could. And I was starting to understand it. On the 5th day, she brought back food. Not rations. Actual meat, skinned and cleaned. She offered it to me like a prized gift. I took a bite to be polite and nearly choked. She tilted her head, confused, then took a bite herself and growled happily. "You're wild," I mumbled. "You hunt like a ghost." Ari smiled. She licked her fingers clean and then handed me a sharpened piece of bone, an improvised tool. Then she placed it beside our nest, next to my gear, like it was a symbol. A gesture. Maybe even an offering. She wasn't just surviving. She was building something with me. But I couldn't ignore the call forever. The radio pinged again. HQ now had a clear window to send a retrieval shuttle. "Leo, confirmation received. We can have extraction on day 7. Full debrief on your Encounter. Bring specimen if safe. Specimen. I looked at Ari. She was combing snow out of her fur, humming a low tune. Not a specimen. Not a test subject. A person. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat beside her. She leaned into me without hesitation, like it was second nature. Her tail draped across my leg. We sat in silence for a while, just breathing together. Then something changed. A howl echoed across the valley. Ari froze. Her ears perked sharply. Her tail stiffened. Then she growled, a sound low and primal. Not fear. Warning. I grabbed my scope and climbed a small ridge. Through the lens, I saw them. 2 figures. Same species. But taller. Leaner. And they were moving like predators. Ari, are they looking for you? She didn't answer. Instead, she placed both hands on my shoulders, pressing her forehead to mine. A gesture of farewell? Or bonding? Then she turned and ran. Wait, I shouted, but she was already gone, disappearing into the frost-bitten wilderness like mist. I waited. Hours passed. Then the night came. She returned, bruised, bleeding, but standing tall. And behind her, the bodies of 2 wolves lay half-buried in the snow. I ran to her. She collapsed into my arms. Kairu, she whispered. Tears burned behind my eyes. I know. I know. She pointed to her wounds, then to my blanket. She wasn't asking for help. She was asking for home. I bandaged her best I could. She didn't flinch. Just rested her head against my chest. She didn't speak again that night. But she didn't need to. In her silence, I felt the storm inside her. She had faced exile, enemies, and death. And she came back. For me. I stared at the radio, blinking green again. Extraction in 2 days. And I no longer knew if I wanted to go. The night before extraction felt different. Ari sat close, resting her head on my chest as if listening to the rhythm of something ancient, something final. The stars above Sura 7 shimmered like silver dust flung across a canvas of blue-black. She traced them with one clawed finger, murmuring names I didn't understand but felt honored to hear. Our nest was complete. Lined with scavenged thermal padding, fur, and even polished stones she had taken a liking to. It wasn't just a pile of insulation anymore. It was a home built from instinct, shared warmth, and unspoken trust. I couldn't sleep. The radio beeped again. Leo, this is command. Extraction shuttle en route. ETA 11 o'clock local. Prepare for departure. Departure. I looked at Ari. She stared at me, as if she already knew. She always did. Ari, I whispered. I can't take you with me. They'll treat you like an experiment. A thing to study, not someone to understand. She tilted her head, then took my face in her hands. Gentle. Sure. She pressed her forehead to mine again, like she had before the hunt. Her way of speaking her truth. Kairu, she said. Not a plea. A statement. We were still bonded. That wouldn't change, even if the stars pulled us apart. Dawn broke like fire across the snow. The shuttle roared above the ridge, descending with mechanical grace, kicking up ice as it landed. The door hissed open. A silhouette stepped out, waving. I turned to Ari. She stood tall, regal in her own way, the blanket draped across her shoulders like a mantle of belonging. I stepped forward, slowly, and wrapped it around her tighter. For you, I said. She pulled me into a sudden embrace, fierce and raw. Then, just as quickly, she let go. I walked to the shuttle. Every step felt heavier than the snow beneath me. At the door, I turned. Ari stood by the ridge, wind pulling her hair and fur like banners. She didn't wave. She didn't cry. She just was a piece of this world, etched into my story. The shuttle lifted. From the sky, I watched her vanish into the forest of frost. Back at base, they asked questions. I gave answers. Sanitized ones. No evidence of hostile activity. Storm interference prevented full data collection. No specimens recovered. But I kept one thing. The word. Kairu. Weeks passed. Then months. I found myself scanning planets, files, maps, anything close to Sura 7. I never stopped wondering. Then one day, on a quiet station edge, a small package arrived. No sender. No label. Inside was a folded strip of thermal blanket, torn gently from the edge. And pressed into the fibers, unmistakable fur, pale, soft, and scented faintly of snow. She remembered. She was watching. I smiled. Because sometimes, the universe gives you a connection that doesn't need translation. A bond not made by blood or species, but by shared silence, survival, and a stolen blanket. Moral ***. True connection transcends words, cultures, and even species. When we lead with kindness and curiosity, we find family in the most unexpected places.